Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came to be through him, and without him nothing came to be. What came to be through him was life, and this life was the light of the human race. The light shines in darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. A man named John was sent from God. He came for testimony, to testify to the light, so that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to testify to the light. The true light, which enlightens everyone, was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world came to be through him. But the world did not know him. He came to what was his own, but his own people did not accept him. But those who did accept him, he gave power to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not by natural generation, nor by human choice, nor by a man's decision, but of God. And the Word became flesh, and made his dwelling among us. And we saw his glory, the glory of the Father's only begotten Son, full of grace and truth. John testified to him and cried out, saying, "This was he of whom I said, the one who is coming after me ranks ahead of me, because he existed before me." From his fullness we have all received the grace in place of grace. Because while the law was given through Moses, grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God. The only begotten Son of God, who is at the Father's side, has revealed him. The Gospel of the Lord. In the reading from 1 John, you can see that the church is kind of in a chaos. But as I was thinking about this morning, I thought, well, when is the church not in chaos? And so you have people who they call the Antichrist. They're a heretical group. They broke away from the apostolic community, and they broke away from the mandates of the apostolic community. They denied that Jesus was the Christ. Thus we know this is the last hour. It's so cryptic. It's like we're at the end of the world here. And in a sense it is, because we're at the end of the liturgical year, and it's time for a new and refreshing start. These heretical groups, they denied Christ, and they denied that the fact that he was truly coming in the flesh. They did not understand that. And so there's also persecutions from the Jews and those who wanted to sustain only the laws of the Jews. There's destruction of the temple in 70 AD and the Roman persecutions. All this is going on, and yet Christianity is flourishing. What a mess for Christianity, but at the same time, what a grace. And when we come to the Gospel of John, you see a different, fresh response. John's Gospel reveals the early sacramental life of the church and the primacy of God living his living word and the scriptures and the sacraments. The word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. In other words, he truly abides with us. And so although there seems to be much chaos in the church, God is in control. And we need to trust that. And so what we have here is the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. Well, is that true today? Yes. This is indeed the Eucharistic presence of Christ, body, blood, soul, and divinity that resides in the church because Christ is King and he presides over the church, truly present to us in a mystical fashion, but truly present. And so what John casts light on is this: rather than worrying about the second coming and all the chaos, St. John sees the mystical faith and the joy of the Word made flesh in the preaching of the Word, in the sacrament of the Word, the Eucharist. And for that reason, the early church flourishes because Christ is in the midst of all this. It is word and sacrament that we constantly prepare for. And that's how we prepare for the second coming. We prepare for Christ in the Eucharist especially, and in his word. And the second coming, we're on the way. The second coming, when we're able ourselves to pass from this life to the life of eternity, because we have remained faithful to Christ, even in the midst of chaos.
Regina Celi, let our